ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। Friends, we have successfully completed the Taittiriya Upanishad with Shankara Bhashya. But because it is a big Upanishad, let us have a kind of summary of all the Anuvaka, all the Vallis, so that we can have a very consolidated understanding of this Upanishad. So for this, let us start the summary of this Upanishad. That means the entire Taittiriya Upanishad in nutshell. This Taittiriya Upanishad is the part of Taittiriya Aranyaka, and the last 7th, 8th, 9th chapters are known as Upanishad. And in this Upanishad we find very important teaching, the convocational address in the first Valli. Then some Upasana are prescribed in the first and second Valli. Along with that we find very important exposition of Omkara, the Pranava. It is also a part of this Upanishad. And we have the Bhrigu and his father Varuna, their dialogue. That means Bhrigu Varuna Samvada. And that knowledge that is given there is known as Bhargavi Varuni Vidya. So that is also part of Taittiriya Upanishad. And Panchakosha Viveka. That means a clear, elaborative discussion on the Kosha, the 5 Kosha, that is also part of the Taittiriya Upanishad. And this way we have Shikshavalli, Anandavalli, Bhriguvalli. Then after that in the 10th we have the Narayana Upanishad also. But 7, 8, 9, these 3 are known as Taittiriya Upanishad, and the 10th one is known as Narayana Upanishad. And the first 2, if you compare, the first 2 chapters deal with Upasana. Upasana is very essential for any spiritually longing person. That means if anybody wants to get some spiritual experience and get the divine experience, all that. So in our tradition, the Upasana is prescribed for him. And Upasana has been variously described in the Kevaladvaita of Shankara, Visishtadvaita of Ramanuja, in others also. So basically what is this? This Upasana is nothing but raising ourselves from the lower consciousness to the higher consciousness. So just shunning away, discarding all the lower instincts, if we raise ourselves and try to connect ourselves with the reality always, it is Upasana. See, some believe in Hanuman, some other believe in Durga, some believe in Lalita, some believe in Rama, some believe in Krishna. But whatever may be the God, form, name, just putting ourselves 100% to that, putting our mind totally focused on that, and all the while, that means whenever we are alert, just thinking about that is the Upasana. So therefore in the Bhagavad Gita commentary, Bhashya, Shankaracharya tells us that when our thought flow is not hindered, not obstructed by any other, and when there is a continuous flow of thought waves, it is known as Upasana. This is in the system of Ramanujacharya, this is known as Dhruva Anusmriti. That means a continuing and fixed smriti. This is a kind of smriti, memory, remembrance. So that should be there in the Upasana. The only difference is some people call Upasana as karma. Shankaracharya does not say that Upasana is karma. He says even if Upasana is karma, Jnanam is no karma at all. And in the Bhakti Sampradaya, they find difference between Bhakti and Upasana. So thus, to some, Upasana is the ultimate one. But in the tradition of Shankaracharya and Ramanujacharya, Upasana is not the ultimate. It is only a means to the higher level. And those upasanas are mentioned in almost all Upanishads, and few upasanas are there in this Upanishad also. And in this, we find the Brahma Vidya, that is the essence of the dialogue between Bhrigu and Varuna. This is Brahma Vidya. What is Brahma? How to approach Brahma? And all the other pertinent matters related to Brahman are given here. So this way, this Upanishad begins with Shikshavalli, continues with Anandavalli, and finally it ends in the Bhriguvalli. And now we have so many commentaries on this Taittiriya Upanishad, like Rangaramanuja Bhashya, then Shankara Bhashya, with sub-commentaries also. But ultimately, Shankaracharya's commentary is believed to be the most lucid commentary, and he has explained the pivotal theories of Advaita, that it is through realization, through jnana, that we get to the Brahman experience. So jnanam is important, and everything else is only subservient. They're only secondary. So the principal means to moksha or liberation is nothing but jnana. Because Shankaracharya believes that it is only ajnana that has caused the bondage. It is apparent bondage. And in order to remove the ajnana, you need jnana. So therefore, jnanam is the means, he says. So now we see the first one, for example, the Shikshavalli. Shikshavalli, Brahmanandavalli, Bhriguvalli. So in the Shikshavalli, we have 12 Anuvaka, that means sections. In each Anuvaka, there are mantra. So what does this speak? This is a very typical part of this Upanishad, because in this part of the Taittiriya, you find that it begins with Shiksha. How? Adha Shiksham Vyakhya Syamaha Varnaswaraha Matrabalam Samasantanaha Ityuktashi Ikshadhyayaha. It begins with this. That means it is actually dealing with some linguistics, some language part of the Upanishad. Shikshavalli begins with a linguistic exposition. How? Adha Shiksham Vyakhyasyaha. What? Varnaha, Swaraha, Matra, Sama, Santana, Bala. Actually, all these belong to language. How? When I speak, so naturally it consists of Varna, that means letters. Swara. In Sanskrit, we have the pitch also. Pitch is known as Swara. Matra. Matra means the length of each accent. That matra, accentuation. Then Varanaswaraha, Matra, Balam. Balam is the stress on each syllable. Balam. Sama. Sama is the circumflex, the samatva. Santana, that means the expansion of that. So all these actually belong to the language, to the sounds. But though the Upanishad begins with the Shikshavalli and some linguistic concepts, as we proceed into the study of this, we realize that it is all spiritual. So whatever is stated as Varna, Swara, Matra, Bala, Sama, Santana, so that will be differently explained further. And with this, actually the Upanishad begins, and as I told you, Sama Santanaha Ityukta Shri Ikshadhyayaha. So after this, the Upanishad tells us that we, that means the student and the teacher, we should achieve everything together, like fame, the spiritual glow, everything we should achieve together. That is the bondage between the teacher and the student. And there is the Samhita. This particular one is important aspect of the Upanishad, that Samhita. Samhita, this is generally the collection of Vedic mantras is Samhita. But in the language of grammar, Samhita means that which connects. Parasannikarshaha samhita. Samhita means the utmost proximity, utmost nearness of two things is samhita. See, when Deva plus Alaya, Devalaya, when we say that Deva Akara, Alaya Akara, these two come together, then only Devalaya becomes. So these two coming together is Samhita. But that Samhita is spiritually explained in this Shikshavalli, saying that this Samhita, a kind of bond, is there at 5 levels. Those are explained in the Shikshavalli. Adhilokam, Adhijyotisham, Adhividyam, Adhiprajam, Adhyatmam. That means everywhere we find a kind of proximity, a kind of togetherness between two. But at what level? First is Adhilokam, that means in the physical world. Then Adhijyotisham, between two luminaries. Adhividyam, in the education also there are two which are so much connected. Adhiprajam, when there is progeny, procreation, there are two connected. Adhyatmam, in the final spiritual level also, two things are connected. And in this process, he says that Adhilokam, that means when it comes to the physical world, two things are connected and the world is produced. What are they? He says, Prithvi, Purva Rupam, Dyauh, Uttara Rupam. It's actually two things are required, no? So Prithvi and Dyauh, both are required. But that does not end there itself. Two more things are required. One is Purva Rupa, another is Uttara Rupa. There is one Sandhi and Sandhana. So it says Prithvi Purva Rupam, Dyauh Uttara Rupam, Akasha Sandhihi, Vayu Sandhanam. So it says the earth is the one form, Akasha or the Dyauh is the other, they come together. That means in the space, the earth is situated. This is the Adhilokam Samhita. But what is the connecting one? Akasha. Because Akasha connects two things. Akasha is nothing but the arrangement of objects. So how they are placed, and that their placement itself is space. Their placement, that is Akasha arrangement. If events are arranged in this space, that is time. So this is general definition of time and space. And now he says Akasha is the connecting, because Prithvi and Dyauh both are in the space, and thus the space contains. And now Vayuhu Sandhanam, these two are connected through Vayu, that is Prana. Similarly, we have between two luminaries also the Samhita. How? Agni Purva Rupam, Aditya Uttara Rupam, Apa Sandhihi, Vaidyuta Sandhanam, Ityadhi Jyotisham. It says, even in the sky, two luminaries are connected. How? One, Agni and Aditya. Agni is the Tattvam, Aditya is its manifestation. So Aditya is also Agni. But we generally say Agni is that which is found on the earth. Aditya is the energy which is there in the space. So this is our general understanding. But the Upanishad says Agni and Aditya are connected. That means the Agni also gets his energy from Aditya. So this is the basic thing, because all the wood and fossils on this planet, they actually get that solar energy, store it, and when required, they actually just exhibit. So thus Aditya is the Uttara Rupam. Then what connects? Apaha, the water connects. And when water gets connected, then automatically in the sky we find Vaidyutaha, the lightning, that is the Sandhana. Similarly, in Vidya, Acharya Purva Rupam, Anteva Suttar Rupam, Vidya Sandhi, Pravachanagum Sandhanam, Ityadhi Vidyam. So it says, in the context of education also we have this kind of Samhita connection. Teacher Purva Rupam, student Uttara Rupam. The proper communication is, that is the knowledge, that is Sandhi, and the Guru communicating with the student is Sandhanam. So this is there. Similarly, Adhiprajam, that means in the process of creation also, Mata Purva Rupam, Pita Uttara Rupam, Praja Sandhi, Prajananagum Sandhanam Ityadhiprajam. So mother, father, when they come together, then there is the act of procreating, and the children thus born are the Sandhi. So therefore, a child is understood as the connection, the divine connection between mother and father. So thus Adhiprajam is stated, and Adhyatmam, and within ourselves also such connectivity is there, such connection. How, in what form? Says Adhara Hanuh Purva Rupam, in the mouth, the below palate, lower palate and upper palate. Adhara Hanuhu, lower palate. Uttara Hanuhu. They get connected, and when there is contact, then the speech comes out. Vak Sandhi, and connecting factor is Jihva. So this way, ek Samhita is explained in the beginning of Shikshavalli and said this is Mahasamhita, and whoever knows this Mahasamhita will get all the wealth, richness, everything. So thus it is stated. And after that, immediately the Upanishad gets into the Omkara, the Pranava. And here the Pranava or Omkara is stated to be the foremost of all the Upanishads, as if it is the essence churned out of the Veda. It is Pranava, and it is Vishwarupa. And this Pranava actually contains the Brahman within itself. And one who worships the Pranava, he will get all the good things. That is stated here in Chaturtha Anuvaka. And in the Shikshavalli, the Pranava, as in the other Upanishads, forms very important part of that. And then there is Upasana. Upasana in the fourth Anuvaka, it says, Ki he Bhagavan, so let my body become eligible for your descent. That means I just contemplate, and if my body is pure, that divine energy will definitely enter into it. And it says, it says, Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha. These are the general Vyahriti, Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha. And each one is equated with a different reality. It says, see, Maha iti tat brahmasa atma angan yanya devataha. How to understand this? Bhu, Bhuva, Suva, and Mahachamasya, a sage, has given another as Mahaha. Om Bhur Bhuva Suvaha Mahaha. Maha till this level. So now it says, for example, Bhuriti Asau Ayam Lokaha. Bhu means this earth. Bhuvaha iti antariksham. So above this earth, the atmosphere and other spheres, that antariksha is there. Suvarityasau lokaha. Suvaha is the Swarga Loka. Maha iti adityaha. Then we come to the Maha as Aditya. Because Aditya is the source of all energy, all nourishment in the world. Similarly, if Bhu is Agni, Bhuva is Vayu, Suva is Aditya, then Maha will be Chandrama. So in all levels, Bhur, Bhuva, Suva, Maha. So these Vyahriti, in Sanskrit context, these are known as Vyahriti. That means the first utterances of the Brahman, the creator. So therefore they are known as Vyahriti. And Maha is known as the Brahman. And Brahma is that which has spread everywhere. All pervading, all present reality is Brahma. And with this, the fifth Anuvaka completes. And there it is stated that the one who knows this particular process, he will get all the wealth, good things, and spiritual glow. And after that, the Hatha Yoga method is given here. That is, it says, In the Hridaya, there is some space, and in that there is the soul in the form of the mind, and but that is originally Amrita and Hiranmaya, and between the two palates inside the mouth, there is one small tongue-like muscle, Sendra Yonhi, that is believed to be source of Indra, and there very subtle thread is there, and when a person dies through this Sahasrara, the top of the head, then he will be established in the Agni, some in the Vayu, Aditya, and such a yogi who leaves his body through that particular Sahasrara will get all Siddhi. They are enumerated in the sixth Anuvaka of Upanishad. Mahiti Brahmani, Apnoti Manasaspatim, Vakpatis Chakshushpatihi, Shrotrapatir Vijnanapatihi. So all these are the Siddhi stated here, and this way we are supposed to understand and worship the Brahman. And after that, the Saptama Anuvaka enters into the Pankta. Pankta is actually the number 5. And here, Prithvi, Antariksha, Dyu, Disha, and Avantar Disha. That means the Virat Swarupa of the Brahman. This is one Panktam. And Lokapankta. Then Devata Pankta, Agni, Vayu, Aditya, Chandra, and Nakshatra. This is Devata Pankta. That means group of 5. And group of 5 belonging to one particular category, and it is to be worshipped. And this way, the Pankta Upasana is given in the 7th one. And after that, again, the Upanishad has taken Pranava Upasana. And it is stated that this Omkar is the essence of all the Upanishads. It is everything. It is Brahma. And one who meditates on the Brahman chanting Omkara will get it. That is also stated. And in the Navama, 9th Anuvaka, the importance of Tapa, Swadhyaya, Pravachana, Satya, these are stated. And these 4 are very essential for spiritual person, because in the spiritual life, these 4 have greater importance. Like Ritancha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Satyancha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Tapascha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Damascha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha. So this way, everything should be Swadhyaya and Pravachan. Swadhyaya is understanding oneself, but after understanding for oneself, one should be able to communicate his experience to the needy people. So that will be Pravachana. So you get that experience and you share with others. So this should be the spiritual life. And therefore it is said Swadhyaya, Pravachana. These two go together. And here the view of Maudgalya is also stated, who says Swadhyaya and Pravachana, they are actually Tapa. So if anybody is doing Tapa, you should understand that actually it is Swadhyaya and Pravachana only. So this way, the 9th Anuvaka also states, and after that, it gets to Trishanku experience. It says, Aham Vrishya Sereriva, Kirtif Prishtim Gireriva, Urj Pavitro Vajini Vas, Su Amrutamasmi, Dravinagum Suvarchasam, Subedha Amrutokshitaha, Iti Trishankur Vedanu Vachanam. So then, one who is within the range of the Prakriti, he now connects. So this kind of meditation is stated in the Trishanku Anuvaka, that is 10th Anuvaka. And with this, we now come to the 11th. So this 11th Anuvaka of Taittiriya, it gives the convocational address. That means the teacher has now imparted the sacred knowledge to the student. The students have received the knowledge. Not only that, they have learned the way of life, and they are now ready to lead a very pious life. So in that particular context, the teacher gathers all the students and he passes this message. And this forms the part of the first Valli, 11th Anuvaka. So having instructed the students, the teacher calls them and gives this instruction. He says, throughout your life, you tell truth, follow dharma, and never deviate from your self-study. And you adhere to satyam, dharma, kushala, whatever is good. And when you are doing something to get wealth or name, fame, never deviate from dharma. And being in your proper pious life only, you try to achieve everything. And basically, swadhyaya and pravachana should never be given up. And the puja, patha, parayana, so actually these are the things to please the gods, please our forefathers. We do all these things, and one should always perform such activities, and one should have the parents as gods, his teacher as God, his guest as God, and always whatever are the good things found in the teachers one should follow, and other things he should leave. And when it comes to giving something to somebody, he should be very humble, and with the feeling he should donate or give in charity to other people, that I am in a position to help others. I'm not great, that God has given me this particular state to help others. With this idea, he should help others. And when he gets any doubt or kind of fix, then he should approach the scholarly, knowledgeable people in the society and observe their life in whatever manner they have led their life or leading their life, so that he should adopt and lead his life. And this is the essence of the Shiksha Valli. The Shiksha Valli itself says, and Esha Vedopanishad. This is actually the Upanishad Rahasya iti Anushasanam. And this is the instruction that the Vedic seers wanted to give us. And after that, now we come to the Brahmananda Valli. And here, the crux of all Vedanta philosophy, according to Shankara, is given. Brahmavid apnoti param. This is, in the view of Shankaracharya, the main point of the Upanishad. That means it is the principal thread. It is the essence of even Advaita. What is that? Brahma with apnoti param. That means the knower of Brahma will attain the ultimate. And here it is described, the Brahman is described and defined as Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. So there is a beautiful discussion on this, whether these are to be taken separately or single, whether these are adjectives and how they refer to the Brahman. So everything is described in the Upanishad Bhashya. This Brahman is nothing but Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. These characterize the Brahman. So whatever is truth, real, existent, Brahma. Then whatever is knowledge, Brahma. And whatever is endless, Brahma. So this way, three definitions of Brahma we can find here. And whoever knows the Brahman in the abode of heart, then he will get all his desires fulfilled along with the Brahman. How Shankaracharya explained towards the end of the Bhruguvalli, last part, he said that when he becomes the Brahman, he enters everything. He is never stopped anywhere. So because of this particular spiritual strength, that means he becomes the Brahman. So therefore, Saha Brahmana Vipaschita Kama Nashnute. And from this Atma, the Akasha, from Akasha the Vayu, from Vayu the Agni, from Agni the Apaha, and from water the earth. So this is the sequence of creation, and thus everything is created. And after that, from the earth, out of all these herbal plants, the Rasamaya Purusha is born. And this Purusha Annamayaha, Rasamayaha. Then this Upanishad explains here how this particular entity called a Purusha should be imagined, personified. That means a reality is explained there, and it should be realized or imagined for Upasana like a person. So just like a person has the right shoulder, left shoulder, head, the entire body, similarly, here also whatever he has described should be visualized like a person. So therefore, Moda Uttarav Pakshaha, Pramoda Dakshinav Pakshaha. So this way it explains. I am Uttarav Pakshaha, Idam Pucham Pratishtha. So the Pucham is explained here as the base on which all these are established. So that is also explained. But ultimately, this particular section of the Upanishad deals with the Brahman, therefore it bears lot of significance. And then in the second Anuvaka of second chapter, the importance of food is reiterated. It is Anna, that food out of which everything is born, everything sustains and everything dissolves into that. Therefore it is the Brahman, and it is the first product of all because it is produced even before the beings. It is Sarvaushadhi. And from this Annamaya into the Pranamaya, into the Manomaya, how one does get. So that is also explained. And in the third Anuvaka, the Prana is described because Annamaya, after that Pranamaya Kosha. So therefore now we come to the Pranam. And Prana, that means the vital energy, that is the source of life everywhere. And it is actually the life in all beings. That's why it is known as Sarvayusha, and it should be worshipped as the Brahman and Sarvayusha. And after that, now Pucham Pratishtha, again it says it has another support. That means this Pranamaya Kosha. Then it gets into the Chaturtha Anuvaka. It says here you come to an entity which is Yato Vacho Nivartante Apra Apyamanasasaha Anandam Brahmano Vidvanna Bibheti Kadachaneti Tasyesheva Sharira Atma Yaf Purvasya. So here it is stated that there is one reality which the words also fail to refer, that the mind also fails to reach. So there is one such reality, and this is the Vijnanamaya and above. And he also has one base, Pucham, that is in the next one. So that's why in the Chaturtha Anuvaka, he says that it is from Annamaya to Pranamaya, from Pranamaya to Manomaya, and from Manomaya to Vijnanamaya. And in the Vijnanamaya, Vijnanam Yajnam Tante Karmani Tanute Picha, Vijnanam Devas Sarve Brahma Jeshtam Pasate. So this Vijnanam, that means the ability, the faculty to know everything, is the Brahman. So that is the worship here. And here also the right shoulder, left shoulder, Modo Dakshinav Pakshaha, Pramoda Uttarav Pakshaha, Ananda Atma, Brahma Pucham Pratishtha. So it is described here. Actually, this is discussed at length in the Brahma Sutra because this is very important part of the Upanishad in which the Anandamaya is discussed. Then in the Shashtanumaka it is stated that if one thinks that the Brahman is not there, then Brahma will be asat for him. And he will also become an impure person. Asti Brahmeti Chet Veda. And if he knows the Brahman, then all the people, the entire society will know him as a good person, pious person, chaste. And there are few questions that are answered later. That is, one, a realized person, what happens to him when he leaves this body? Again, as non-realized person, what happens to him when he leaves this body? So one should know this. But in this context, it is stated that the Brahman or the Supreme Soul, it just desired to become many. And out of that thought only, there was a kind of vibration within. The vibration caused a kind of friction that is known as tapa. And out of the tapa, everything is produced. And the Brahman has created everything. Tat srishtva tadevanu pravishat. He created and then entered into that. So in the last part of this Upanishad, it is again discussed what is meant by entering that. Shankaracharya has beautifully described here. So he entered that, and the Brahman entered into the matter, and he became the visible, invisible, the manifested, unmanifested, the knowledge, ignorance, real, unreal, everything he became. And yadidam kincha tat satyamittya chakshate. Whatever is described here is absolutely true, and one should believe and worship on that. So it is not just information, but for worship's sake it is described. That is also explained in detail in this. And if anybody thinks that there is no Brahman at all, then he will be an impure person. But once everything is created, then how can there be a non-existent thing as the cause of the universe? So something existing should be there, and that is Brahman. And the Brahman is in the form of rasa, and whoever reaches that particular one, whoever actually touches that particular aspect of Brahma, rasa, he will get all ananda. And that ananda is Brahma, and Brahma only gives ananda to all beings. And whoever is established in this experience of Brahman doesn't have any fear at all. But others who do not believe in that and always get doubts regarding this Brahma, they get all fear, doubt, and therefore a cycle of birth and death. Then after this Saptama Anuvaka, we get to the Ashtama Anuvaka, in which the 12 levels of Ananda are described. Therefore, this part is known as Ananda Valli, where 12 levels are described, starting with the Manushya Ananda. That means whatever a healthy, young, wealthy person may get, that bliss is the lowest level. And from that, gradually, Manushya Gandharva, then Deva Gandharva, then Pitru, then Ajana Deva, then Karma, then Devananda, then Indra, Bruhaspati, Angirasa, that means Prajapati. And from Prajapati, that Ananda ultimate level, that means the pinnacle of that, the peak of that is Brahma Ananda. And after reaching that, there will not be any difference between Brahma and the knower of Brahma. This is stated in this, the Anuvaka Ashta. And after that, the Upasana is stated, that whoever is there in the body and whoever is there in the Aditya, they are one. And whoever realizes this, he leaves the Annamaya, then gets to the Pranamaya, then Manomaya, then Vijnanamaya, and finally the Anandamaya he will reach. And in this context, few traditional shlokas are also given, frequently quoted. And the knower of the Brahman, he passes through all these kosha, and he reaches that particular part which the mind and speech cannot reach at all. And that is the place of all fearlessness. And here, did I do all good things or did I do only bad things? So that kind of a consideration will be there. And actually, both of them do not touch, do not influence the self-realized person. So with this, the second Valli also ends. And after that, the important one, that the dialogue between Bhrigu and Varuna are given. Varuna is the father, his son is Bhrigu. Bhrigu approaches his father and asks him to teach him Brahma. The father instructs him to perform tapasya, penance, and then only through tapasya one can realize the Brahman. And following his father's instruction, he practices tapasya, and ultimately Bhrigu reaches from the Annamaya to the Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. So each one is described in all these Anuvaka, and finally he reaches the Ananda Maya Kosha. So Bhrigu experiences that each one is Kosha, but that much is not the Brahman. Brahman is unlimited and that Kosha is limited. Therefore, he leaves that and again does tapasya, and finally he gets to the Anandamaya. And Ananda is the ultimate source of all creation, all sustenance and dissolution. And whoever knows this and gets established in this Ananda will get all the siddhi, all the wealth, and he will get fame and the glow of spiritual strength. And in this context only, 7th, 8th, 9th, these three Anuvaka tell us that we should never waste food, we should never disrespect food, and we should always understand the value of food, because food is in the body and the body is also food to other. Thus prana and anna, the state is stated here, and anna and annada, it's actually very important topic that is discussed in the last part of Taittiriya Upanishad. Anna and annada, in the 7th, 8th, 9th, we find that kind of teaching. And after that, we come to the last part of the Bhrigu, where it is stated that we should respect our guests, we should offer food and shelter to them, and we should utter pleasing words to them, and worship that the Brahman is found everywhere. And in different parts of the body also he is placed in different names. And that is stated. And the way of worshipping Brahma as Nama, Mana, Paramara, all these are stated. And then it comes to Sa ya evam vid asmat lokat pretya etamannamayam atmanam upasankramya. So one whosoever realizes this, he crosses all these kosha, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Then ultimately he realizes, when he becomes one with the Brahma, there I am the food and I am the eater. So that kind of realization will be there. That is explained. And with this, the Upanishad concludes, and the last Shanti Patha is Om Shanno Mitrasham Varunaha Shanno Bhavatvaryama Shanna Indro Brahaspatihi Shanno Vishnu Rukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmavadisham Ritamavadisham Satyamavadisham Tanmamavit Tadvaktaram Avid Avinmam Avid Vaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So the beginning Shanti mantra is repeated here, and it is stated that Mitra, Varuna, Aditya, Indra, Brihaspati, Vishnu, all these should be auspicious to me, and my salutations to all these divine entities. And hey Vayu, you are the direct God, and I have realized that you are the Brahman, and I have stated the truth, and that Brahma, in the initial Shanti mantra it is stated that may that Brahma protect me, but now in the concluding part of the Upanishad it is stated that Brahma has protected me, Brahma has protected the one who studies the Upanishad. So with this, the Taittiriya Upanishad completes. So this is a beautiful Upanishad with all the Upasana and Brahma Vidya, and some of the frequently discussed spiritual matters are found in the Upanishad only, like the Pranava, like Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava are taken from this Upanishad only. And this Upanishad speaks of the greatness of Pranava, and Panchakosha discussion is also there in the Upanishad. Nowhere you find such kind of Panchakosha analysis that is there in this Upanishad. and along with that you have different kinds of upasana. And Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, the very definition of Brahman is found in this Upanishad. Not in all Upanishads you find that kind of definition. So here you have that definition, and thus Anandamaya Adhikarana, the entire matter of discussion is based on Taittiriya Upanishad. Thus Taittiriya Upanishad bears all kind of significance, and I think we are lucky to have studied this Upanishad. So with this I conclude here. Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.